Yeah, folks, we're just going to let this run. We got some coverage going on with Fox now, live now with Fox on the fires. We're going to talk about the wildfires out there. I think right now we have active. I heard some reports about 6 active now, but I think they may be down to 4. But this is ever changing for sure. But I did see that.
Yeah, and it's going to be ever changing, Mark, because there's zero control of it, and until there's a handle brought to it, it's going to continue to be out of control.
Yeah.
So
I think they're 8 to 9% contained or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. That's 0, folks. That's 0.
Says we're live, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, guys. For those of you out in the LA area of California, hey, man, my heart goes out to you, right? We're praying for you guys. Absolute, complete devastation that's going on out there. If we do have anybody from California, dude, shoot us a note. Let us know what's going on. We might have ability to get you on live as well. But, me and Mark were talking prior to the show. This is all incompetence. And when you look at Newsom, he's known about the issues out there with the wildfires for years now, and he's opted to do nothing. And I hate to say it, but the people in LA, they're paying for it they're paying for his incompetence. They're paying for the mayor's incompetence. Why would you cut, I think it was $17 million to your fire services? There was a Cal Fire, I think, put a letter to the governor. Hey, man, they didn't want to, the seasonal workers, they want to keep them on board. It's like, nope, let them go. It's just, this thing's out of control. But at the end of the day, guys, yes, it was an arsonist that started the fire. However, it boils down to 100% utter incompetence from the leadership. And I got it, California, you guys get your own different ways of thinking about your politics, but I think you really need to start looking at who are these people that you're electing. And the truth is being told by them. Their incompetence is costing you your homes, your livelihood. That state is out of control with their policies. And unfortunately, you people, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely beautiful state, without a doubt. But man, the politics that goes with that, the cost of living, all these different things, it's time to put those elected officials in check. And first and foremost, I wish you guys the utmost safety out there. We're praying for you guys. If you guys have lost your homes, utterly catastrophic. I can't even imagine.
No.
Old Mel Gibson was on doing an interview with Joe Rogan. Finds out, man, house is burning. So
yeah,
it's just safety first and foremost to you guys out there. If you're in that path, or you think you're in that path, or they're telling you to evacuate, hey, man, get your family, get out of there and go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a tough situation. And we're going to bring up some questions and discussion about, the incompetence too. We're going to have some receipts. We're not going to just throw that out there, but what we are going to say is it's been on display. It's been on display for everybody to see. And I know a lot of people are trying to push back on some of the things that we're talking about, such as the $7.5 billion going for the water reservoirs, the storage and stuff like that, that it was too far upstate. Well, it did come down far enough to where the irrigation and keeping those things lush, those areas lush, would have not added to that. That's the thing. It's not just one thing, Rick, and we've talked about this. It's a calamity of things that made this a catastrophe caused by human negligence. That's what this is really about. You can't, we agree, you can't prevent the winds. Can't prevent that from happening. That wind drops through those channels between these two areas and it just picks up, steam.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts blowing like crazy. And it's when it's that dry, if anybody's ever burned dry brush at their family farm or their back, dude, it goes up in a heartbeat and it's gone. That's exactly what happens. Now add 60 to 100-mile-an-hour winds to it. This is
Yeah.
what you get. This
Yeah.
is what you get.
And Chris brings up a good point, old eco-terrorism. I don't know, Chris. So I know the arsonist has been caught. Again, what was his motive? I don't know, but doesn't go without saying, but there's so much more as this onion's being unpeeled that you got to sit there and ask yourself, why did all these insurance companies dump these people's fire insurance? Why was there no water? Because I think if I recollect correct, and don't quote me on this, but I think the water was like shut off to the hydrants either 3 weeks or a month prior to this happening. Why did that happen? Right? Like all these questions, you're going to ask yourself, what's going on? Mayor's out of town, right? Like, come on. Newsom's known about that he's had issues as far as from the forestry side and him not servicing it correctly. Mother Nature servicing your forest is not the best way to do business. His state's always in a constant state of fire because they don't do any maintenance as directed by that government. So it's going to be interesting to find out once they do get the arsonist, if he even says anything. I don't know. Were you just some fluke out there just wanting to start fires, or is this a bigger scheme? But it just, man, I go back to the same thing that happened in Hawaii. How was the water shut off? How does all this stuff happen? This day and age, man, I mean, no way. But again, I can't say enough. I feel for the people out there, man. I feel for them, man. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do out there to stop it, right? Until the fire departments get this blaze under control, it's going to be continued devastation. And I forget, somebody had made a mention, the Palisades looking like Dresden from back in World War II, because basically we firebombed that city. And it's like, I can't even imagine, so definitely, prayers with those guys out there in California, firefighters, all that stuff, trying to get it. But man, they are definitely under-resourced, unfortunately. But have seen some stuff, man, some amazing air crews out there doing some amazing things.
Yeah.
But there's just not enough out there to really put a dent. And when this thing starts going, man, it goes. And unfortunately, it's in residential areas, not saying that it's, there's the number right there, 22,000 acres, you got 14,000, 1,000 acres, just, it's out of control, man. And in the Palisades, only 11% contained.
Yeah. That number's gone up a little bit, probably because now it's daytime and they're the sorties back and forth to the water, man. You firefighters, you men and women out there, and all you first responders out there, rescuing and the aircraft operations and stuff like that out there. Hats off to you. Be safe. We appreciate you, here in On the Range Podcast Media. But we really appreciate you, and I'm sure everybody out there does as well. Just take care of yourselves. Keep an eye on your buddies, making sure that you got to get some rest in there. You got to be able to function. But man, hell of a job they're doing out there, Rick. It's a shame. If it wasn't for them, how bad it'd be. It'd be freaking even worse.
Oh yeah.
And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, you saw that one video, you got that one firefighter, whether he's got a purse, little bag, whatever, man, trying to get little scoops of water, trying to make a difference. It's just, it's crazy, man. Trying to do the best they can. Unfortunately, they don't have all the full resources to do it. And like you said, with those winds, this thing's going to keep going. And at what point is it going to stop? I don't know, brother. I know we were talking, kind of pre-production as far as, dude, you got the ocean right there. And I think from kind of the research we did, hey, using the saltwater, seawater, it's going to be corrosive on your stuff, dude. At this point, you got to get that fire under control. Now, I would just be thinking this, especially the helos that have those little baskets that just kind of scoop up water from the reservoirs and go, dude, man, I'd be hitting, the seawater back and forth, man. That'd be my resupply point for water. Let the rest of the whoever use those reservoirs or whatever, but man, just try to use everything you got. But that's uh it's just crazy to see this going on and then no idea how to get in check,
Yep.
no idea.
Yeah, I agree with you on there. I know people talking about the desalinization and all that other stuff. I get it. It is harmful for environmental stuff, but dude, this is straight up. And I'm not an expert on this stuff, and
Mm-mm.
they may already be doing some of that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like you said, man, this is all hands on deck, and this is worst case scenario, absolutely worst case scenario. We can reevaluate the gear and all this stuff with the negative effects that it could have. We can deal with
Mhm.
that later. But right now we got to save lives and save as many properties as we can. And
Yeah.
22,000 over 22,000 acres, bro. And that's in one area. That's just in Palisades.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's
That is
huge.
absolutely huge.
Mm.
How much more devastation is going to happen? And, here's the thing, you kind of got all hands on deck. I saw something earlier today. I guess the Canadians sent down one of their seaplanes,
Yeah.
that captures water and does all that other stuff, so you've got all kinds of stuff going on. But I guess one of the aircraft also had a drone strike because you got somebody illegally flying a drone trying to capture this stuff.
Mhm.
Right. So I think it's one of the 727s that drops the retardant out there. I think he had a drone strike.
Wow.
Because
Like a midair
these guys,
collision?
it clipped the side of the aircraft, so it put a hole in the aircraft.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
because those
Yeah.
things fly low, right? I
Mhm.
mean, trying to put the retardant down, put it in the right spots.
Yeah.
And I mean, for those of you kind of watching, yep, there's one of them right there, probably getting
Watching
ready
the
to do a
screen
dump.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good sized plane, man. You're right, man.
Yeah. But you got people out there just zipping their drones. And I mean, look how
Yeah.
low he is, man.
Yeah.
There he goes. Because he's trying to get that retardant on the
Yeah.
spot that it needs to. Trying to stop, basically build that firewall to stop that fire from going, man.
Yeah.
And dude, it's trust me, you don't need your drone footage, right?
Yeah.
Let these guys fly, keep them things grounded, keep those aircraft safe. Because the last thing you need to do is, and again, I don't know what damage was caused, what that does for it. But dude, I know for a fact you start putting holes in aircraft, you're going to down it. And these
Yeah.
guys need it right now. And I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, there's not a ton of those type of aircraft around to begin with.
no.
And they're allocated and they're bringing that stuff in. I think a couple of them came from Canada, and some other departments around the country, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But still, it's not like there's a ton of those.
No.
Yeah.
No. As soon as you get aircraft damage, dude, I mean, that thing's down.
It's
So,
down. Yep.
don't worry about your drone footage, guys. Ground your aircraft and dude, just let the professionals kind of bid out there, give them the airspace they need to get their work done. But they're right there trying to, save those homes, man. Trying to put that retardant line in, and just protect the best they can and stop that, contain that fire, man. But it's absolutely just as soon as you get those winds blowing, if those ambers start going. Saw something the other day. It's like trying to see what they're zooming in on. Dude,
It looks like a mobile home park or someone's
something.
mobile home. Yeah.
But man, it was like, the palm trees burning, because those ambers get up there and then that, I mean,
Right.
it's just out of control,
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. Again, Rick mentioned it, everyone who's listening or watching, especially now that it's live. If you have any firsthand or on-site information, we'll jump you on the show. As long as you have a mobile device, web-based, email us at beourguest, one word, at ontherangepodcast.com, also one word. And we'll jump you on the show here. If you're listening, you have anybody that would be interested, wants to get on here, and put out some stories of heroism or how we can help. I know we were mentioning some folks that were doing human rescues and also that were doing animal rescues. We're trying to get some awareness out on that kind of stuff. And just let us know, and we'll have you jump on here. We reached out to some of our friends out there to see if they were, okay. Hopefully we'll hear back from them. And once we get their okay, we'll give you guys and girls an update on how they're doing. But, I know we talk about, I'm sure there's some truth to this, and I agree with it that, some of the anger and things like that. Now, this is coming from us who aren't directly affected. I know we have friends out there and stuff like that, that the time for anger and stuff like that is not now. Okay, fair enough. I don't want anybody hiding behind that, especially the ones that are, people are pointing their fingers at. But at the same time, I understand that. However, you start to see some of these things pop up, Rick, like some of the deforestation management, some of the things where these reservoirs, they had had a positive impact on this big of an event, maybe not being so big or not. I'm not an expert. However, if you get $7.5 billion, I think, was it San Bernardino that came out with that allocated that, made it a law, and they never completed one of them.
Yep.
You have to ask yourself, okay, what's your argument that it wouldn't have made a difference? Because my understanding is that a lot of those things were shut down because of activists and all these other things, environmental activists and things like that. Okay. That's a question that they're going to have to answer for, Rick. It definitely is. And another thing too, some of the leaders in the local government piece, not just the statewide stuff, but the local government piece, the fire chief was asked, hey, why were the hydrants that were working during this event all of a sudden shut down or run out of water? Well, we don't know where the water comes from. Timeout. Yeah. Timeout. You are the chief of a huge law enforcement or fire office department, and you don't know where your water comes from. You don't have regular checks. You don't have people going out. Come on. If that's true and you really don't know, that is a level of incompetence that I didn't expect.
But here's the thing, Mark. There's been incompetence through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because people straight up asked the mayor, hey, how did this happen? And of course, she sidebars. Oh, we're going to worry about, taking care of the fire. Never answered the questions, never addressed the issues. Oh, by the way, she was gone half the time.
Yeah.
You're cutting budget to the fire service, and it's all becoming relevant now. You had one woman, run up to Newsom because he was out there. Hey, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm talking to Biden right now. Well, hit him on speaker. Let's hear this. Right. Well, I'm trying to get cell service. Quit lying, guys. Right? Quit lying. You've been caught. Your competence, let me rephrase. Your incompetence has been shown. Quit lying to these people. You're going to have to take ownership, right? You can't dodge this one because there is no dodging. And it's going to be from the governor down to the mayor, down to the fire chief, all the way, right? Now I get it. For Joe Firefighter, hey man, you might have tried to do the right things. I got it. Your leadership failed you. But at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, you're telling me that Los Angeles County does no checks on their hydrants? I find that hard. I find that hard to believe. Right? Or maybe they just said, hey, don't check them this month. I don't know. But at the end of the day, and again, I'm not fireman, fire service. I got nothing to do with that. Just from me being a regular citizen, having fire hydrant not too far away from the house, watching them guys come out and they'll periodically check it, right? They'll crack it open, water flows, do all their stuff. Yep. Okay, great. But you're telling me they don't do that out in California? I don't know. Just seems odd. But it's it's the incompetence. I think that's really killing everything, brother.
Mhm.
It's from the top to the bottom. When Trump was in office last time, he told Newsom, "Hey, man, get your state in check." And here it is. You've had 4 years, no control burns, no nothing.
Jeez.
You're worried about the smell. You don't want to fill your reservoirs, do all this other stuff. You've got plenty of water, but you opt not to, properly harness it.
Yeah.
Now people are paying for it. So, I
I don't
mean,
believe that there hasn't been experts, forestation experts, fire experts, all these folks haven't been saying, and I'm sure that'll all come out, haven't been screaming at the top of their lungs saying, hey, look, Joe Rogan, there was another thing from Joe Rogan show about a year ago where he had
Mhm.
spoke to a firefighter, and he had said the exact same thing. He said, dude, that if they get the right wind, that thing is going to go up like a Roman candle.
Mhm.
It is a disaster out there. So it's not like these folks who are experts in this type of fire in general, emergency management, that haven't had to have been saying some things, right? There definitely are. Hell, Trump, like you said, Trump's been saying it.
Mhm.
And I can tell you who else figured it out as well. These insurance companies figured it out. They figured
Yeah.
out. They said, hey, look, we're going to have to raise the premium on this because this is going to happen again. This is going to
Mhm.
happen again in a big way, and we can't afford to cover it.
Well, I don't think they raised the premiums, Mark. I think they just
No.
cut the insurance.
Well, they weren't
And
allowed to. They weren't allowed to raise the premiums because there was a law passed, and they have an insurance commission out there in the state of California that's very robust and very powerful. And
Mhm.
they wouldn't let a couple of these companies. I think Allstate was one of them as well, and State Farm. Now, I'm not saying that the insurance companies. I think a lot of the insurance stuff is a scam. Okay, I'm just simply saying it's important to have insurance, for fire insurance in a place where your main threat is fire.
Mhm.
And they wouldn't budge. They wouldn't let them raise premiums, and they bailed.
Yeah.
They bailed.
And,
And
and and that's what I'm saying. People
yes,
lost their fire insurance.
yes,
So what you're going to see is all these people affected out in California. They're going to be just like the poor cats in North Carolina. Oh, you live in the mountains? Oh, we don't cover floods.
right.
I mean, these insurance companies, every time you turn around, it's how can we deny, not how can we help. And I get it. You're going to lose all kinds of money because you're going to have all these claims coming in,
Mhm.
and they're going to do everything in their power to divert those funds to go, nope, that doesn't cover you. We don't cover flood insurance, or we don't cover floods in the mountains, right? Oh, I'm sorry your fire insurance got canceled last month. Bring it up with the state. Who's going to replace these people's property?
Yeah.
You know?
I want to know what type of negotiations happened. What type of, how did that break down to where they just pulled out and left? I mean, it's no secret that it's not easy to operate a business in the state of California. That's why
No.
everybody's leaving.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And I can't imagine that State Farm isn't any different, and they
No.
just couldn't do it. You can't legislate a business or a genre of business into failure, because then you're just not going to have that service anymore. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what happened. Like I said, dude, I think a lot of this stuff, like you said, about uh, the intricacies of it, and showing up with adjusters and only giving you 70% and that kind of thing. Dude, I
Mhm.
think a lot of it's a sham, especially for folks who pay for it all their life and only need it once.
Yeah.
I get it.
It They need it at their worst moment,
Yes.
right? Your
That's when
home,
that's when it's bullshit.
yeah, your home's completely gone. You've got nothing. And then you're gonna turn around and go, "Oh, sorry. We don't cover that."
Right.
I mean, it's mind-boggling. Then, on the insurance thing, each state's different. Each state has their own insurance rules, which absolutely boggles me. It's just like, okay. Um, but at the end of the day, the people of LA County, man, they're the ones that's going to pay.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't have the coverage. cost of living out there is crazy enough as it is. How are you going to expect to, cool. You might have your little plot of land, which, oh yeah, I'm sure the county's going to go pay our taxes, but you got nothing there.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Well,
I don't know, brother.
how much did they spend on maintaining the services that they give to homeless? Was it like $1 billion? Like, maybe $1.25 billion? You
I don't know what,
couldn't squeeze $17 million away from that particular fund to fully fund the fire department? That is ridiculous to me. That's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Well, let's just go back when, let's just look at the state as a whole. Granted, we'll shift up north to Sacramento when they said, or not Sacramento, but San Francisco, when they did the big cleanup. How much money did you dump there? But like, you look at this bullet train, I forget how many billions of dollars that thing sucked up and never got completed, right? Like, the state of California just wastes money on the stupidest things. And something they need, i.e. fire control, their forestry services to be doing the right thing so you don't have these dramas. Yeah. They don't do it. It's absolutely mind-boggling on one side, but it just shows the complete incompetence of the California leadership on the other side. And unfortunately, it's those good citizens that are going to have to pay. And that's the sad part. Now, I can't even imagine living in California, cost of living the way it is, lose everything, and then even expect to rebuild. What do you do? I mean, with the economy the way it is,
I don't know.
Everything the way it is. And, you can call Rick conspiracy theory, or you can call Rick whatever, right? Is old BlackRock going to be hiding out in the shadows, trying to capitalize on these people's losses? Hey, man, we'll buy you a patch of dirt for however much. People are going to settle, take it, and then have to figure out what they're doing next with their lives. I don't know. But what do you do? I mean, I can't even imagine. And I just ask you, the viewer, listener out there, comment if you want, but can you imagine losing everything you have? So basically your home gone, burnt to the ground. Then what do? You got no insurance to rebuild it, because that's what most people, I know here. Hey, man, if something happens, hey, your insurance is going to cover you. You got nothing. They're not going to cover it. Then what do? How do you start life over again when you got nothing?
I don't know. That's a great point, because some of these folks a lot of those type of scenarios are definitely going to occur with even just property developers, and they're not going to have a choice whether they want to or not. They're going to have to choose, between the best option for them. And like you said, dude, this isn't going to happen overnight. No. The permitting alone out there is a disaster. And that was a funny interview that they had talking to one of the civic leaders out there when he was standing on the PCH, and he's talking about, we're going to get these permits through. Dude, we all know how that's going to go. It's going to go right back to where it was. And these folks are going to find that the permitting and the extra costs that they have to go through, and, to get past all the environmental stuff just to build, an outbuilding, from the ground up that already had a permit, by the way, when it was burned down.
Yeah.
It's going to be astronomical how much it's going to cost and how long of a wait it's going to be. You think it's going to happen fast? It's going to be efficient and effective out there?
No.
That's all going to change because everything got burned down?
Nope.
No way.
Nope.
No way. And you're right. Nobody's going to pay their taxes.
No, I mean,
they're just going to leave.
How can, let's think about it for a minute, right? Here's the part you got to think about. Okay, cool. Your insurance isn't going to cover the loss of your home. You still got a mortgage, right? Can you imagine? And Dude, it's nothing to living nothing for $1 million out there in California,
Oh,
right?
dude.
So, so let's just say, let's just talk generics. You got $1 million mortgage that all of a sudden you just lost because it's gone. Well, the bank's still going to say, "Hey, man, you owe us $1 million." I mean, that debt's not going away.
No.
I don't care that your house burned. And then, oh, by the way, you're paying into that mortgage, into your escrow, the county tax. Well, the county's not going to sit there and go, "Oh yeah, hey, we're super sorry you lost your stuff." We want our money. It's like a lose-lose.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people have been affected.
I thought they
But
said it was right around 13,000 buildings, and that might have been a day or so ago.
okay.
13,000. And that might have just been in Palisades.
Yeah. Well, let's just say hypothetically, 13,000 families, homes gone. Now you got zero insurance to cover that. Now you got, and again, it'll be a lot more, but I'll just throw out $1 million. You get $1 million mortgage. What do you do next? What's your next step for life? File bankruptcy? Hope for
Yeah.
the best? I mean, where do you go? Maybe you still got your job. Maybe your job was one of those buildings that got burnt out. I don't know. But it's just, to me, it's a catastrophic situation that really should have never got to where it was.
No.
And unfortunately, and this theme's going to be coming back. It's failure of the California leadership to do the right things prior to. And at the end of the day, the part that sucks with it all is it's the people of California. They're the ones paying for it.
Yeah.
Newsom, he don't care. But for his incompetence, those people in LA County, they're paying for it, man. They are paying for it. So
I'm switching some of the coverage over for those watching just so we could see during some of the commercial breaks.
Yeah.
If this was a smaller channel, we'd leave the commercials on there so they can, do their thing. But these are national news organizations. Fox 11 now we're on there. But no, and that's the way it always is. And I get when it's at the hands of incompetence and just poor governance like we have here. And here's another thing too. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Republican, it's independent, or if it's a Democrat. The proof's in the pudding. Now, like we've said this, these occur naturally in nature, just like hurricanes do. These pop up all the time when there's no allegations of arson and there's not 100-mile-an-hour winds, right? But they're going to happen. That's what makes it even more incompetent, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And they did absolutely nothing to mitigate it. We're not talking about preventing it. We're talking about doing everything you can that's available to you, because it is going to happen again. And we want to lessen the impact as much as we can. They didn't do it. And now I know the reservoir comes up and, but they like you said, why not take that money? Okay, that's not going to work for you. How about do some huge desalinization places and start stockpiling this water? How about building some cisterns closer to these areas?
Do something, right?
Do something.
But here's my point, Mark, right? Going on to the forestry part. Let's look at Fort Bragg, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Fort Bragg burns every single year. Now, granted, they're control burns, and a lot of the roads on Fort Bragg are called fire breaks by design, because that's the way they control, especially with all the pine needles and everything else. That's the way they control. Should there ever be a fire out there in the training area, hey man, you've at least burned a lot of that fuel from the prior year or whatever it may be. That's the part that California never does. They never do any type of control burns. It's always these catastrophic wildfires that something happens. Because, hey man, whether you've got somebody that was reckless with fire, whether you got the arson, whether you got the lightning strike. However, wildfire happens, it happens.
Yep.
But there's no control. And that's been going on forever because they don't do their control burns. They're like, well, we'll just let Mother Nature handle it. Well, when Mother Nature handles it, you've got basically all that fuel just sitting there. And once it lights, it's going, man.
Yeah.
So
Stephen M on YouTube makes a good point. Insurance companies not paying out has caused me to adjust my saving strategy. I'm working on funding my own insurance fund, if you will. Something to have in mind when insurance falls through. Okay. Great point, Steve. Thanks for listening. Hey, make sure you share this to your friends, and a big shout out to him. And thanks for watching and helping us out and spread some of the conversation. But no, absolutely. And that's a great point with the fire breaks and stuff like that, because this fire with that wind, it was jumping over the PCH like it wasn't nothing. And all that, that $20 million pieces of property were gone in a heartbeat, right? We know that circumstances will dictate, and sometimes Mother Nature is a tough broad, but hey, you did something. No one's going to fault you for something that you can't prevent. It's the things that you can prevent that need to be addressed. And it's a great point what people are saying, but dude, you're right, man. Those we had charred earth and we had details going out there and picking up those pine needles. We did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So don't tell me you can't do something. You can do something.
No, but to your point, Mark, right? The reason these ambers are flying is because you've got so much fuel on the ground. This is the first time fire's touching it. How long has it been sitting there? God knows how many years.
Yeah.
Right. So now you've got all this basically dry tinder, for lack of better terms, laying on the ground. Poof. Of course, when it kicks up, it's no different when you sit there and burn dry leaves, right? What happens with dry leaves? They're lightweight. They get the embers. And then, of course, you add your wind to it. Off they go. So it's because nothing has been done preventative wise to stop these fires. That's typically when they happen. And again, I haven't researched all of California wildfires, but I'd be willing to bet if you look at where wildfires have happened in the past, there hasn't been one back there in a while, right? Because all that fuel has been burnt down.
Yeah.
And I would hope, you hate to have, a catastrophe happen to learn the lesson, but will this potentially get California government to start looking at forestry and going, hey man, what can we do to help mitigate this from happening again? I don't know.
Great point. And not listening to your experts. And look, I know we've been hard on the fire chief. We've been hard on her. However, she wrote a letter that they've posted out many a time saying, hey, look, you are dramatically affecting the effectiveness of the fire department by diverting these funds or not giving us these funds. So hats off to her. I'll give credit where credit is due. She went out there and said that, and it's in print. So, that doesn't excuse all the other stuff for sure, but it is a fact that is proof to me that you're not listening to your experts. And that to me is one of the biggest indicators of incompetence. When you're not smart enough to realize that you don't know everything and that what you might be saying might not be the right way to go with things.
Yeah.
The taking away from basic public services from your constituents. That's all they asked for the most part. If they obviously didn't mind him spending money on the homeless, spending money on all these other things. They obviously didn't mind that, but that's at the luxury of guaranteeing us and having solid basic safety, a good fire department, good police officers, garbage, all that stuff. If you don't have those things, then you don't have the luxury of going out and doing these other things. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I mean, here's the thing, Mark, right? This is the other mark, in my opinion, of a good leader. Okay, cool. Hey, your fire chief is telling you something. Maybe it's not sitting right with you, right? That doesn't make sense. Are you getting any other counsel? Right? Do you sit there and go, hey, let me go ask another county something, or another fire chief? Hey, let me run something by you. How about that? So I got it. Not sure what all the conversations were. But again, a good leader, man, if you're going to sit there and go, hey, this is my initial counsel, doesn't quite sound right. It's kind of like when you go to the doc and he tells you something you're not happy with. You're going to sit there and go, Roger that, doc, or you're going to get a second opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same concept. Or there's going to be some things that are flat out blatant. Hey, we got no water in the hydrants because this, we need to do that. Roger that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it fixed. But if you opt not to, and here's the thing, man, I've been out to California kind of post some of these wildfires, man. And dude, it rips through. If you just look at the topography of California there, man, when that wind starts blowing, it
Oh,
gets down in
dude.
them valleys, man, and just
Yeah.
howls. And it sounds like no other sound you've ever heard before when that fire is just ripping through.
Yeah.
And you can't stop it. The
No.
only thing you can do is pack up and leave.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of that, it looks like the Mandeville Canyon area it's danger close by now, folks. I hope everybody, heed those warnings and take your family, your pets and everything that you think, vital things and just get out of there, man.
get out of there. Yep.
Just get out of there.
Yeah. And you can see, for the viewers there, I mean, those planes are just trying to put a retardant line down to try to
Mhm.
stop that fire from going anymore. And you can see where they're dumping it at, You kind of
Yeah.
got that road, there, you got those houses. Is it going to stop it? I don't know. I don't know. But it's just, I mean, you see how much the retardant goes down, not very far. And you
Yeah.
can just look at how far that fire line is, dude. It's big.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like, and you can see where those big trenches are where that wind is just ripping through. That demonstrates
mhm,
what we were talking about. It just picks up that speed and just keeps on going. And they're
yeah.
trying to dump it, at the top of those ridges so it doesn't go over. And you see those houses right in the line of where all that wind is going.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man. And I'm not going to fault anybody. I don't want to speak bad of anybody who stayed behind and now are reported as missing. Like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, man. I don't know. I can't even imagine what they're feeling and where their thoughts are at and what all the circumstances they have. But I want to see everybody safe.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's an interview I saw the other day. Um, a lady that opted to stay.
mm,
And, it was her parents' home. Parents are 90 years old. It, this is, I'm telling, I can't even
yeah,
imagine
yeah,
being in that boat of going, this is all we've got. You try to stay out there and get your little garden hose to try to wet your roof and all the try to preventatives they try to do. Right. But I can't even imagine being in that situation. And
yeah,
it's easy for us to sit there and go, "Hey, pack up and leave." Yeah, but like you
yeah,
said, I can't fault somebody, and it's no different. Especially out here in the on the East Coast when hurricane season comes. Some people don't heed the warnings. There's like, I'm riding this one out.
yeah,
I'm gonna hold out because this is what I've got. This is my castle. This is everything I own in the world right here. And to sit there and some of these cats to come back, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like that one picture was showing me, and you come back, it's just burnt sticks to the ground.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And you see all these folks who are brave enough to go on TV after all this and giving us their stories, man. These aerial crews, dude.
mhm.
We've only been on here for about 45 minutes, and they've just been nonstop. So
Oh yeah,
hats off to them,
Turn,
man.
turning and burning, man, turning and
Yep,
burning. And
yep,
unfortunately, their their span is not that long that they can
yeah,
either water on a fire line or suppressing or whatever. And then it's like, hey, turn, go get some more, and let's try to come back.
yeah.
Um,
I know we like to bust the chops of our firefighter friends sometime, but
oh,
man,
dude,
they're doing a heck of a job. And you can tell there's
yeah,
definitely communication because you don't see one hit an area. You see several, they're definitely working
Oh,
together, and the
they've
professionals
got a
out there
strategy.
doing it. Yep.
Yeah, there's definitely a strategy to try to stop that fire line.
Yeah.
Um, between both the retardant and the water. But man, it's just at the end of the day, you've only got so many resources. So
Mm.
that's the hard thing.
Yeah, another thing too is we're talking about grown-up issues, but the young people, can you imagine? I mean, being displaced like that,
No,
8 days ago, they wouldn't even have known what the heck was going, there's just their normal day getting ready to go back to school
yeah,
after the holidays. And now we have
hmm,
this, you
yeah,
know?
yep. And I mean, just the psychological impact, to the youth, man, to sit there and
Mhm.
go, boom. So depending how old they are, whether it's having to be isolated with the old China virus and all that other silliness, now you sit there and go, bam, I just lost everything.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't care who you are, man. That just
that's
straight
tough.
up sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's talk about the freaking ultimate gut punch, man. That's just like, mm,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Another thing too is, wanting to build, and you've grown up your whole life and wanting to build in the same area again. That's always
Hmm.
going to be in the back of my mind. If this is going to happen again,
Yeah. Yeah.
if these folks are even be able to rebuild dude, what kind of timeline would you put on this if you had just an individual with a home?
Oh God. Um, years, man, years, because you got to think, all right, let's just say they were to suppress the fire today. Okay. Then you've got God knows how long, people got to go figure out where they're going to live because their home's gone. So now you got to go try to put yourself up. God forbid you got to go to a hotel because that's going to cost you. Um, then you're going to try to probably hit the insurance company up, which they're either going to tell you straight up, hey, go get bent. You don't have fire insurance. Too bad, so sad. Um, and then at that point, what do you do?
Call us in
Because
6 months. Who knows what the
yeah,
who knows what the
I don't know.
response are going to be? Yeah.
I don't know. But the banks, here's the one thing I will tell you: the bank's still going to want their money.
Oh yeah.
So hey, you've got a mortgage. Sorry, your place is gone. That's why you're supposed to have insurance.
Yeah.
So eh, I don't know, but even let's just say hypothetically, let's say there was no insurance dramas, no whatever, dude. Just the amount of building resources, and then oh by the way, at what value are they going to appraise your house for what it was at? Because now everything in there is gone, right? So they only give you so much for the possessions within the home. But then what's it going to actually cost you to rebuild a same or similar house?
Oh, dude.
Uh, Right?
Dude, I say 10 years.
I,
I
I
say 10,
think 10 years,
10 years.
I think 10 years would be conservative,
Yeah.
you
This
know?
won't look anything like it did for another 10 years.
No, no,
And
no, because just,
it's sad. I love it out there, dude.
oh yeah. And here's the thing, it's different than just trying to do, if you want to say, a regular development, because now you've got to get all this debris out of there. You've got to get all that charred wood, all that just stuff. That's going to take time to get all that out there.
Yeah. Getting all
Get all your
that
infrastructure.
stuff. The contaminants. I mean, the air is probably crap out there.
Oh God, well, the air's. I hate to say it, the air's always crap.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to LA, man, it's like, dude, it's going into the 80s bar where everyone's smoking, and you just got to sit there and take that curtain of smoke and go.
Yeah.
I swear, man, you hack, you cough.
Mhm.
You can see that cloud just sitting over LA. It's like, ugh, terrible.
Dude, it was
Um,
like getting on a plane back in the '90s. Remember that?
oh, dude, ashtrays right there in the
In
seats,
the
like people smoking up.
in the
It's like,
seat rest.
yeah, what do you mean disabling smoke alarm? Forget about it.
Mm.
Uh, but no, I don't, brother. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a hot one they got right there, just east of Mandeville, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a hot one. So it's getting warm right there. God dog it.
Look at those flames, man.
I know.
I mean, for the viewers out there, I mean, we're not talking ground. I mean, those things have got to be going what, 20, 30 feet in the air, if
Oh
not
yeah,
higher.
easy. Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
this is
well, heck, they got to be higher than that, probably close to 50, 60. Because you look at that's a 2-story home right there,
yeah,
and a couple, and you can see when them wind gusts go, because all of a sudden the flames are kind of at that level. Boom, they shoot straight
yeah,
up,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that
This
thing,
is
you can just watch it just rip. How do you stop
yeah,
that, man? You know, you can see
this
them
is yeah.
smoke trails starting to come down. I mean, that's just those little fire veins going. But God bless, man.
I do
That
have to
that
say, it looks like they're making some headway on the top of that ridge right to our right. If you're as you're looking at the screen,
yeah.
because that was burning. Now it's not. So
Mhm.
right off of West Ridge Road. But
Yeah.
yeah, those who are watching, we're currently on Fox 11. It's a local station out there. So mm-mm.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I feel for him, man.
Yeah. So I think we covered a lot of things, Rick. I mean, for the viewers that joined us, big thanks
Mhm.
again. You know, we still have this. We'll probably put this out on the audio side of the house as well, just to
Absolutely.
hear if we can get any comments from those on the audio side. But be our guest at ontherangepodcast.com. And probably going to do a couple more of these while this is still going on. It's only 11% contained in Pasadena, so I'm sure there's going to be several more days.
Mhm.
I think it'd be a criminal for us to not cover some of this more and talk about the heroes who are out there doing their thing, recognizing those who have suffered immeasurable loss,
Mhm.
and they're sad, and we want to make sure that we bring attention to those who are doing some things. Look at all the fire officers on the ground, man. Just
Mhm.
um, stay safe out there, men and women of our fire
Yeah.
department out there, man. Mm-mm.
Yep.
God dog it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there's
that
definitely a lot of
fire just
questions, though. A lot of
that
questions.
yep, that fire's just right up there over that ridge, man.
Mhm.
I mean, look at that. Golly.
Wow.
They I just gotta say, be careful, man, because if that thing um, jumps over that hill and comes down and catches that wind, God, it's just gonna rip.
Yeah. Hey, our friend from Rockhouse K9.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is rough out there, buddy. Haven't seen him in a while. Hope he's doing well. Thanks
Heck,
for
you got
writing
a
into the show. Yep.
looks like a lone
Should
firefighter right there, right up there on the hill, man.
Oh yeah. No kidding. Oh my goodness. Yep.
Mm,
Oh, yeah, it's rough out there right now, man.
yeah.
They got some go watch some of this live coverage, and just on the outset that you might see something or see a number or a website or something that you can do to help, pay attention to this, because your fellow Americans they're struggling, man.
Mhm.
Um, they're struggling out there. Maybe if there's anything that we can do, I mean, in the big scheme of things, might not be that much of a help, but you never know. You never know if you're not
Yeah,
paying attention to it.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah. We talked about that earlier, brother from Rock House. Yeah, he had noticed that some of the drones were hitting some of
Mhm.
the fire fixed wings. Yeah, you're right, buddy. And that's another thing too. You talk about a mess in the air. There's a lot of low moving fast wing or fixed wing aircraft out there, along with everything else, and they're doing a bang up job. And I'm almost positive that wasn't a USG freaking drone that they struck. I'm sure it's a privately owned.
No, yeah, they had said it was a, commercial drone. So,
Yeah,
somebody out there just trying to grab content, or hell, dude, it could have been a news, who knows, right?
yeah,
Um, hey, your news chopper somewhere else, zip up the drone. But yeah, those guys are flying in low,
yeah,
and
yeah.
again,
Give
people aren't
them,
paying attention.
Yeah,
That could have been
they're in enough
catastrophic.
danger, man. They're in enough danger without having someone up there, throwing something at them like a drone that shouldn't be there.
Yep.
5,000 homes destroyed just in Palisades. So,
God.
so that I think that was one of the heaviest hit, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Palisade had it was almost like a horseshoe. It started running down towards Pacific and then kind of had this like big loop and then was making this other run. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. We might be putting some stuff up for this. Any information that we get, we'll put it up on the website at ontherangepodcast.com. So make sure you check that out. And a lot of the stuff at warhog.com and kellydefense.com also mirrors what's on the website for the show. But if you hear anything or see anything on the show, typically it's going to be on ontherangepodcast.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, there's folks right on top of that ridge right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's danger close. Dude. It's warm where they're standing. So,
oh yeah. Yep. I mean, that's just golly all over.
Yep. Looks like they're staged behind some of that street there.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the map on there, so we couldn't tell you what street they're on right now, but we've seen dozens and dozens of fire officers and specific wildfire fire officers just in that one, I would say, 50-acre area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, the winds don't look super, super high right now, but I think they said the gusts were going to be up to close to 30, 40 miles an hour today.
Yeah.
We saw the young lady on the other channel. She puts up that map. And hey, one thing I want to kick a shout out. And we give these guys a hard time, CNN, right? And I think we even pointed out that keeping Anderson Cooper around is completely understandable because my man's a pro. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pro and he's a wartime journalist. He's a natural disaster journalist. So him going out there and interviewing Gavin Newsom, you can say what you want about the interview. And I'm not saying don't be critical, but what I am saying is Anderson Cooper goes to these things. He's legit. He's a legit journalist. We've always said that about him, even though we don't like much of the stuff he says, but he goes there. And he's not wearing clothespins on the back of his jacket like Muir. Yeah. But he's out there doing it, and he's been doing it for a long time. So I want to kick a shout out for him. I think the coverage that he has done, is particularly on CNN, has been fantastic. And so, credit where credit is due. And I know I said that because, we were poking a lot of fun at, is it David Muir from ABC?
Yeah, David Muir. Yeah, oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. You are a narcissistic tool bag to sit there and go, oh, my jacket, which is just a prop anyway, doesn't look right. Hey, clothespin it in the back.
Yeah.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
People are out there losing their livelihood.
Yep.
You're supposed to be reporting on it. And then it's like, oh, it doesn't look good. Give me some clothespins.
Yeah.
Same.
Dude, I've never put on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bud.
No, I was saying that was the same dope that moderated the presidential debate. So just kind of shows you the narcissistic attitude of that dude. So.
Yeah. And you know what? The fact checking that it did, a lot of it was wrong too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, total. I've never put on a professional piece of kit other than a suit that I worried about what the look was. I want to know about the functionality and if it's going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
This guy has never done anything that he needed to worry about the application of a tactical purpose ever. So whatever, dude. Dude, I tell you what, all you viewers, man, you guys don't miss nothing. You guys don't miss nothing. And they call me out on it. They call, us together. They call out Rick on it. And I love it. I love it, man. So keep it coming. But yeah, dude, he looked like a total toolbox. And I don't care how pretty anybody thinks he is. He's not an Anderson Cooper. He's not, a Rivera. He's not one of these guys who've been doing it for years. He's just a toolbox.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he wanted to get out there is he said, he's thinking about his cred. That's what he's thinking about.
Oh, that's it. It's a big story. I got to report on it.
Exactly. So it looks like just for some of the moves, I'm going to switch back over to the Fox Now. I really enjoy their coverage. I think they've been doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody else has any ideas about what you think is a good way for all of us to get our information, let us know, because I want to keep up. I want to keep current on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think really all it is, Mark, is just looking at the map. You know,
Yep.
that's as much as I hate to say it, the map's going to be the telltale sign. And wishing, like I said, kind of, closing remarks, just wishing those people Godspeed, the best of luck out there, man, because it is just, it's brutal. And, another retardant bird coming in. I mean, my man's like low to the ground.
Dude,
And he's going to,
he's
dump
only
that
a few
retardant
hundred
right where it
feet
needs
off
to
the
be.
ground, bro.
Oh, dude, they bring it in tight. Those dudes are those 727 pilots, man. They are good.
Yep. That's not a small plane.
No,
They're doing some
loaded up
bang
with
up
that
job.
retardant. He's going to figure out, hey, what's that line he's got to, dump it at, and there it is, drops away. Trying just to stop that fire in its place, man.
The one of the other things that I want to impress upon too is how impressive in a horrible, horrible way this fire really is, because of how long and how many resources are there now, and how they're only just beginning to make headway. And let's face it, some of this fire, some of these leading edges of it have nowhere else to go because they ran into the PCH.
Yeah.
So they essentially just had nowhere else to go. The fuel ran out. And if I know that from looking at that, then I would know that if I clear out some of that fuel on the ground, maybe this stuff won't work. And I don't know nothing about fire management.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the key part. Oh, there's old Newsom again. Worthless.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's typically when you look at the forestry guys, they're trying to build those fire breaks in there. But the problem is you've got so much fuel that, dude, I would probably say, right, and this is totally speculation, you'd have to build probably a 1/4 mile fire break. So those ambers that, flying over.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be huge. I mean, and then at what point do you pick, where's the point, the strategic point to go, let's start digging here? And you'd have to do bulldozer. There's no other way, because typically they do the fire line with human bodies, sitting there. Like when you look at the smoke jumpers, they're jumping in to these fires, basically cutting that fire line. But dude, you've got, I would say probably 1/4 mile, man.
Yeah.
Just to quit those ambers and having everything, jumping over. And I think I was trying to see. Yeah. Of course, he's being questioned about one of the letters.
Yeah.
I think that he was sent. Of course, he's going to sit there and dodge it. But
well, there's a lot of very smart, competent folks that would know exactly where to put those brakes at. In the highest risk areas.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, you just got to lean on your experts and the brave men and women who know what they're talking about.
But I think they're at a point, and look at him. He's got that smirk on his face. He's always got a smirk.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's just, there's so much resource that's needed, and you're just watching these homes just burn, man. It's just, it's heartbreaking, and then just to listen to freaking, or not listen to him, but just to watch his facial expressions, man. Such a smirk, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's the mayor.
Oh yeah.
She's another worthless.
The Honorable Bass. So, all right, buddy. Thanks for everybody for tuned in and watching this. And if you're watching this at a later date, share it. And you got that email on there. Like I said, we'll put this up audio. I'll get that out today. And then I'm sure we'll do another one. Hopefully,
yeah, buddy.
We'll make some headway by the next time we're on air. So everybody,
God, I hope so.
You want to go ahead and clear it off, Rick? I think how you did is very appropriate.
Yeah, you guys train hard. Definitely Californians, stay safe out there. And we'll see you on the range when it's all good and safe.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
All right, man.